I started really late tonight on day, what is it, 19 now? Um, yeah, I was just lazy. I just didn't get the work done until I think I just finished pretty much. And even that, I had to go back and add a little bit to the end of a previous scene because the way this chapter was flowing didn't fully work. It's like each individual scene I think works pretty beautifully, but the flow of them seemed a little bit off, and maybe I needed to reorder them. I haven't done that yet. I might do that a little later. I need to see the whole thing before I can make any really rash decisions like that. Because I still don't really fully see where it's heading. It's becoming clearer, but there's still difficult passages every now and again. Um, in terms of, okay, so I dialogued earlier this week about this other novel idea that I had, and I thought it was going to be beautiful and great. And yes, I believe fully it will be both of those things. I don't think I'm mature enough of an author to really tell that story well. I need to work my way through something like the Gator and keep on uh, grabbing the next rung of the ladder and keep climbing up before I can really get there. I think that one might be a good decade, if not two, away from really tackling that to any degree that I think might be actually worthy of the idea that I have in mind. The Gator, I think I can tackle that now. It's a simple enough idea. Um, I haven't done horror in a really long time, actually. I'm trying to remember when was the last time I've really touched horror in terms of writing. Oh gosh. Oh man. I think it was the previous version of the Gator I did so long ago. That was what, back in 2011? Yikes. Wow. Yeah, I haven't touched horror in a while. I think I divorced myself from it for a little bit in terms of my writing. But it's time. The genre beckons to me. It's demanding that I return. I'm like, okay, I'll oblige. Um, yeah, okay, so here's the thing. Charlie's talked to four different people about the same thing. And everyone has a different reaction, but they all have similar thoughts. None of them think he is what he thinks he is. And that's actually been really interesting. So he talks to his mother first, demands that she doesn't tell her husband. Then he talks to Dax, who is one of the co-owners of the alligator farm, but that conversation gets cut short. He then ends up talking to Pastor Reed, who is the uncle of Everett. And today was the conversation with Everett. Now, these two, Lynn, the mother, and Dax, were last week. That was chapter 3. And Pastor Reed was yesterday, and Everett was today. So those two scenes are back to back. And I'm not fully sure how I feel about that. The story's starting to get really heavy, and it feels like the foundations might begin to break. But the way I have it mapped out, I actually think it's going to break at just the right moment. I don't think I could sustain a full story, a full novel, with just this idea. This idea of Charlie wrestling with his identity and who he is and just dialoguing with other people about it. It's a fascinating idea. I don't think it would work. It needs something like a killer alligator rampaging to really get any sort of sense of a mass audience attracted to such a concept, to a dialogue about that. Themes of faith and identity are still so prevalent in the material I'm writing today. And this week in particular has been really quite heavy, which has been really good for me. It's been really challenging for me personally. And I think it's the one thing that people don't fully understand is, yes, I write really tough material because I'm not afraid to go there. I'm not afraid to ask those questions. Repercussions, who cares? I want people to dialogue about these things. But the person I'm challenging the most is me. Because I don't think I'm that good at some of those dialogues either. So are these conversations based on anything in reality? No, not really. Like, none of these conversations, except for some of the brief interactions with the pastor, are based on reality. And I talked about that in the second week, that there's an interaction with a pastor there that's, oh man, it's definitely based off of a real encounter. And really, that pastor character, it's been fascinating. That pastor character is a pastor I know, and that was not intentional. It just happened that way. But he's going to go through some rough things that this pastor hasn't had to deal with, thankfully. He hasn't had to deal with members of his congregation being eaten off. So, it's different in how this guy's going to react. Anyways, oh, I named the chapter today as well. This chapter is called The Decision. And he's going to make a decision tomorrow. Charlie's going to make a decision tomorrow. So, with that said, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Remember the mantra, the Gator. It's exactly what you think it is.